Hi everyone! Today's video is going to be all about mites, so sorry if it makes your skin crawl. There's a lot of information to go over, so I'm sorry if this video is kind of boring, but I think it's important information for all rabbit owners to know. So there are three main types of mites that affect rabbits, which include ear mites, mange, and fur mites. Ear mites attack your rabbit's ear canal, producing a reddish-brown crust. If severe enough, you may even see these mites moving around on your rabbit. If it's left untreated, this mite will attack other areas of your rabbit's body, putting your rabbit in extreme distress. You may notice your rabbit scratching their ears excessively or shaking its head back and forth. This mite can be very painful for your rabbit. Mange is caused by a mite that actually burrows under your rabbit's skin. You will first see sores appear around your rabbit's nose and mouth, but it can quickly spread to the head and neck area. You may also notice watery-like secretions that will dry and scab over. The third mite is fur mites, and they're the most common type of mite, and they're luckily the least severe. They are microscopic, but the most common symptom of them is dry skin. You'll notice dandruff-like flakes around the nape of your rabbit's neck and on the outside of their ears. This type of mite is sometimes referred to as walking dandruff because depending on how bad the mites are, you may literally see the dandruff moving around. If it's left untreated, you will also notice fur loss and wounds from excessive scratching. Fur mites are still dangerous to your rabbit's health and happiness, so make sure to get to your rabbit-savvy vet for treatment. With any of these types of mites, if you leave them untreated, it can be very uncomfortable and painful for your rabbit. And if you leave it untreated long enough, your rabbit could die from symptoms like anemia, because basically there's a parasite munching on your rabbit's skin, or from a bacterial infection, which can be caused by your rabbit's lowered immune system and any open sores that it gets from scratching the affected areas. So how does your rabbit get mites in the first place? Well, your rabbit can contract mites from a variety of ways. It depends on the area that you live in, having your rabbit housed outdoors, or bringing your rabbit outside for playtime. Mites can also be carried in by other household pets that go outside, like cats and dogs, and they can also be present in hay. So especially if you buy fresh hay from a local farm, which is how I think my rabbits have gotten mites in the past, this can be a way that your rabbits, even if they're only indoors, still can contract mites. I know that Amanda from the Binky Bunny Shed says that she freezes her farm hay in the freezer for about a week before she gives it to her animals because that's supposed to actually help kill any mites or bugs that are in there, so that might be a good idea if you're buying farm hay. So there are two common treatments your vet may recommend for killing mites. These are ivermectin and revolution. So ivermectin is used solely for mite treatment, and it's usually an injection your vet will administer just under your rabbit's skin. This is how my vet gives ivermectin, although apparently it can also be given orally. That wasn't an option I was given at my vet's, it was just the injection. And depending on the severity of the mites, it may require injections over a series of weeks to kill off all of the eggs, larvae, and adult mites. So when Ollie had mites, he actually had to go for 3 injections that were each 2 weeks apart. Revolution is typically given as a flea and heartworm treatment for dogs and cats, but the active ingredient in it, which is called selamectin, has also more recently been found to be an effective treatment against mites. I actually prefer Revolution just because it's applied topically, so I feel it's less invasive and painful for my rabbit. And it's also something that I can administer at home, which I feel is less stressful on my rabbits since it doesn't require extra visits to the vet. I also feel like it also kills fleas, which makes me feel that my rabbits are that much more protected. So it's treating both of those things at once or preventing both of those things at once. The only thing with Revolution is sometimes it doesn't always work. There have been cases where it's believed the mites have grown immune to it, and if your rabbit seems to have a weakened immune system, it is possible it may not be enough to fight them off. So this is what happened with Ollie the first time he had mites. As many of you may know, he does have a heart murmur, he's got a weakened immune system, and overall he's very sensitive to everything. So he was the only one showing symptoms of mites at first. So we started him on the Revolution at our vet's advice, and his symptoms diminished, but they never went away fully. So after about a month of treating him with the Revolution, what we ended up doing was switching him on to the injections of ivermectin, and the rest of the rabbits, because they were responding okay to the Revolution, were kept on the Revolution, and within a month everyone was clear of all the symptoms. It's also important to treat all animals within your household, since mice can affect any mammals, and this includes humans. So you'll also want to thoroughly clean your cages, bedding, do a good vacuum of your house. You may also want to wash like your actual bed and everything as well, especially if you have animals that sleep with you, like your dogs and cats again, that could have contracted it. And if you're like me, you'll also be itching to steam clean your house, but that can actually make it worse because the heat and steam can actually cause any dormant eggs to hatch and any existing mites to thrive in these warm conditions. And this is actually the exact same with fleas. So hold off on the steam cleaning, try to keep everything really dry, just do a good vacuum of your house and clean all the bedding and cages. I'd also wanted to tell you that I never recommend buying any of the mite or flea products from local pet shops, or any pet shop for that matter, just because these haven't been approved by your vet. Essentially, any of these products, which includes Revolution and ivermectin, are types of poisons, and many of those sold over the counter at pet shops aren't made for fragile animals like rabbits or other small pets. I would never ever use a flea or mite dip, shampoo, spray, or bath that wasn't prescribed by my veterinarian. So if you suspect that your animal or rabbit or any animal really has fleas or mites, please go see your vet first to confirm it and then take the necessary steps and treatment that they recommend. So now I'm going to show you how I administer the Revolution. It's pretty easy, and like I said before, it's non-invasive, and that's why I like it. So I keep this in our house anyways because our dogs are almost always on it, as it is a heartworm treatment and a flea prevention. So there are a few things you need to know about Revolution. First off, there are 2 concentrations of Revolution. So if you take your rabbit to the vet, they are going to prescribe you the 60 milligram per milliliter dose, which is made for small dogs, puppies, and kittens. But as I have large dogs, the concentration I have in the house is 120 milligrams per milliliters. So this is still safe to use, but it's vital that you half the dose. So a dose is based on your animal's weight. So I have the recommended doses my vet wrote down for me based on each of my rabbit's weight and a 60 milligram concentration. However, since I have 120 milligram per milliliter concentration, I'm going to half that. So you'll notice it's a very small dose I'll be giving to the rabbits. You're also going to need a small syringe from your vet to measure out the dosage properly. Please remember this is a topical treatment, so even though the syringes come with a needle, you're going to pull off the needle and only use the syringe part. I don't want anyone hurting their bunny because of this video, so remember I'm using the 120 milligram per milliliter dosage, which means I'm halving the dose, and because it's in such a large vial, I just pour a little bit into this spare container I have laying around here. And then I'm going to use the syringe to suck up the amount I need. I'm going to insert a chart for Revolution dosages for your rabbit here that I got off a rabbit rescue website because I think it will help you determine what dose you need to give your rabbit based on their weight. Okay, so now I've gotten the proper amount measured out for Rocky. So I'm just going to part his fur on the nape of his neck, and then I just squirt it on him. So as you can see, for a rabbit, it's an extremely small dose that I'm giving him, especially since, again, I am halving the dose. And now I'm just going to repeat this for Ollie. So I'm measuring out his dosage, which is slightly smaller than Rocky's because he weighs a little less. And then I'm parting his fur on the nape of his neck, and I'm just going to apply pressure to the end of the syringe. Remember, no needle attached here, it's just the syringe part, and you're done. So it's really simple to use the Revolution. Again, it's painless, it doesn't involve going back to the vets, it's less invasive and scary for your rabbit, and it takes seconds to do. So the only reason that I'm treating them today is because I've noticed a bit of dandruff like flakes on Rocky and Ollie's skin, and they've also been spending time outdoors, and I don't want them getting fleas or mites or bringing them into the house since we have so many other animals in the house living with us. A flea or mite infestation is just a nightmare for us to deal with. As well, I started noticing these dry flakes when I switched back to farm hay. At the time, I didn't even think about freezing my hay, so it's something I'm going to definitely look into doing when I do my next order, and hopefully that'll stop my rabbits from contracting mites again. So I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. That's pretty much all I have to say about mites. I do feel a little bit like an expert because my rabbits have had mites twice. Please remember that if you suspect mites, you need to call your veterinarian immediately. You don't want them getting out of hand, and you certainly don't want your pet to suffer because of them. So I guess that's it, guys, and I hope you liked the video and it was helpful, and thanks for watching. Bye!